We'll be back, ladies and gentlemen.
What is up, YouTube? I'm your friendly neighborhood Endman64, and I'm bringing you the final episode of the original MLB Power Pros portion of the MLB Power Pros Double Play LP. In the last episode, we wrapped up season mode, where I showed you how the off-season works, signed a couple of free agents, and prepared our team for the future. You won't have to worry about that anymore, however, as there is a gameplay loop at that point, as your team continues to slowly but surely try to get better to repeat as world champions. In this particular episode, however, we are doing what I consider the all-star break of this LP. We will have a very special exhibition match to watch, one where I am not taking part in. We will all be watching the game. I'm sure you might have noticed when I showed you these arranged teams that we have two special teams down here. I made these teams specifically for this kind of showdown. I was initially hoping to do a World Series like this, but considering we're going to be doing the World Series with Mark and I at the end of the 2008 session, don't worry, there's another way we're going to be doing that. It's not just going to be us playing each other. We have a very special thing about that. In this one, we're going to be doing a special all-star game. These are two completely unique rosters of baseball players. As you can imagine, these are the veterans. These are players who, as you can see, are on the older end. These are players born or players at the age of 35 or older. So Roger Clemens, Kurt Schilling, Randy Johnson. Usually these will all be guys born before 1970 or before they would be 30. If they're 35 years old, they will be on this team. 35 years old or older, they will be on this team. So you can see we have a bunch of veterans on this team for both pitching and fielding. And I wanted to do something unique, so rather than have like two superstar teams go at it, we have a veteran team. May as well save. I didn't change anything, but this game is very weird with demanding you save every other thing you do. And then we have a kids team of players 25 years and under. So you'll have some guys in their 20s here. Pretty much anybody born after the year 1981 or 82. They will be available on this roster. We have King Felix, Anibal Sanchez, Dontrell Willis, Matt Cain, Justin Verlander, Scott Kazmir, K-Rod, Houston Street, Carlos Marmol, Liriano, Meredith, Maya. For pitchers, and then for fielders, you got Joe Mauer, Russell Martin, Adrian Gonzalez, Robinson Cano, Cabrera, Wright, Frank Sizemore, blah, blah, blah. So this is the special little all-star game. We will have an old versus new matchup. Granted, all these new guys are also in their 40s right now, so this is new for 2007, if you will. We are going to spectate, and we will watch the vets and well, they were supposed to be the kids, but they're just the powerfuls. As you can see, a retro logo against a younger logo. What will win? The future or the past? We will have the DH on. We'll do a night game, even though we've seen a lot of night games so far. And these are our lineups. You don't get to change the lineups for the CPU, at least I don't think you do. Oh, you do? Okay, that's cool. Alright, so we will do Lofton, Biggio, Thomas, Barry Bonds, or otherwise known as Greg Gonzalez, Mike Piazza, Chipper Jones, Sammy Sosa, Reggie Sanders, Omar Vizquel, and Roger Clemens on the mound. And then for the kids, Carl Crawford leading off, Jose Reyes batting second, Miguel Cabrera is the DH, Adrian Gonzalez cleanup, David Wright fifth, Grady Sizemore sixth, Joe Mauer seventh, Robinson Cano eighth, Jeff Francoeur ninth, Dontrell Willis on the mound. But I think I'm going to go King Felix instead. Nothing against Dontrell, but I think King Felix overall has the better stuff. So, with this first half of the LP done, we can talk about it while watching a good game, and I don't have to worry about the game, which means I won't be distracted. Yay! And again, I'm sure you guys enjoy me being distracted on occasion.
Allow us to extend a hearty welcome to all our fans.
MLB Power Pros, the original,
Las Vegas and Hawaii,
is weird because I played the 2008 I rented Power Pros 2008 from Blockbuster to show you how old this was.
Will line up this way.
I was about 13 or 14 at the time when I rented it.
Playing shortstop is Kel.
Because I wanted to play a baseball game on the Switch that wasn't Super Sluggers or Backyard Baseball.
Playing left field, Gonzalez.
On the Switch, on the Wii, that wasn't Backyard Baseball 2007 or Mario Super Sluggers or something like that. I wanted to play a different game. And MLB Power Pros popped out
starting for Las Vegas is Clemens.
And I rented it. I played the living shit out of it. I loved every minute of it. But eventually we had to give up the game. Obviously back to Blockbuster. But it was my life's ambition to find my own copy of that game. The first MLB Power Pros game I found and bought ended up being 07's roster, which again I don't really mind.
Crawford hits the comebacker and is retired.
I knew the 2007 rosters very well. And while it wasn't as up-to-date as it could be, I still didn't
next at bat, Jose Reyes.
Playing 07, while I played 08 first, 07 I probably played more of, initially. Mostly because it took a long time for me to find a copy of 08, but on top of that,
two away.
I love the creativity in the game.
Here we go,
like, you could have just had an average, just build your own character mode. But no, the game actually has you go through an RPG-style run of creating your own character, as you guys saw in Success Mode. And they could have just done it as what MLB The Show does, where it's Road to the Show. You just do your at-bats and then see what you do. Do some training, you do this, you do that.
No errors. Hawaii.
They didn't do that. They chose instead to start on with a kid in college, which I really enjoyed. Not because of the fact that, oh, you can go to college? I enjoyed it because there's so much charm.
Las Vegas are now up to bat. Leading off as the first batter in that lineup, Kenny Lofton.
So easy, but they chose to put some charming character in it, which, according to what I've read about the Power Pro series in general, is what they're best known for. And I totally can get behind that. I love that idea. And I'm kind of hoping deep down that they do end up releasing more Power Pro games in the future in the States, because
the count is 2-2.
Good God, I would love a modern MLB Power Pros game. As long as it's not focused entirely on online matchups. Because, let's be real, I know online matchups are the new it thing, but that's kind of getting annoying. I would like to have like a good one-player experience that doesn't look like the show and take up so much space on a software.
It's a strike.
Sorry, I had to itch myself. But that's one of this franchise's strong suits. It's simple.
The count is even.
It's not over the top with graphics. It's not cheesy, but it's not simple.
There's a hit.
I mean, it's simple. It's cheesy, but it's not like too cheesy. The gameplay is incredibly easy to get behind. Even for people who aren't big baseball fans, I think it's a very easy game. Both Chris and I absolutely love this game, and whenever we're together, we try to get at least a game or two in. We didn't get to in 2020 because it was three of us, and it would kind of be unfair for two of us to block off our other cousin, Shiny Stuffs, from playing, his sister, Shiny Stuffs, and me. It would be unfair to block her out from doing it. So we opted instead to just play,
strikeout looking.
We did Smash, we did Mario Kart, we did Mario Party.
No runs, one hit, no errors, one man left on base.
But that's the strength of this game is its simplicity. And that's what I think a lot of video games fail to grasp. Like, you don't have to look like a freaking gorgeous matte painting or be super realistic to be a good game. Look at this game. This game is as cartoony as you can get, but it's got great character. It's got great charm. It's got a great success. It's got a great story mode. It's got a great season mode. my biggest gripes with the game are the auto-fielding things that just automatically selects the wrong fielder sometimes. And then my other big gripe would be like the lack of, other players that could have been in the game that they just opted not to have. But again, I don't make the rules for that, and I'm imagining that they didn't have that much budgetary time. They didn't have that time, or they didn't have room in the budget for it. So that's why I said I'm not going to sit there and go, I blame you for all this. That'd be stupid. I enjoy what they did with this, and I respect the game for what they did with this.
No runs.
And that's why I will always love MLB Power Pros.
We enter the bottom of the second inning. Hawaii 0.
This
Las
game
Vegas,
in particular 0. has some fun little quirks behind it. It has Barry Bonds as Great Gonzalez. Like in the show, he's Reggie Stocker, I believe is his name. It has Mike Piazza, my all-time favorite baseball player. It has some charm and quirks to it that you wouldn't ordinarily see in a baseball game, and that's why I really enjoy
Gonzalez
the Power
is looking
Pro
at the
series.
pitches very well today.
And if you look, like I said, with this game in particular, while the level up curves and stuff and like some of the player stats are completely batshit out of nowhere, it's also fun to be able to use a player like Mike Piazza, for example, and not have him be useless. Like some other games would have made him as like an older player.
It's a strike.
It gives you variety, it gives you options. The fact that you can custom make your own team, there are so few baseball games that let you do that, or at least around this time, the time this game came out, there were so few teams that let you do that. Hell, even MVP Baseball 05, which many people consider the best baseball video game of all time, that had stopped going. I don't think 2005, I don't think there was another MVP Baseball after that series. I think they all switched to the show. But like, they traded the graphics in they traded in like a lot of the good gameplay aspects in for better graphics. And let's be real here, not every game needs to have the top-notch graphics. This is a golden example of a game that doesn't need to look like a game that came out in 2024 for it to be a good game.
That's the final out. No runs.
That's what my issue is. Like, I would want this game. I would love for Power Pros to come out with new games every year. But I'm willing to bet that the reason they didn't create a Power Pros in 2009 was probably because the sales for this game weren't that big. And then they tried again with the game that came out in 2011, but I'd imagine that also didn't sell well. But I do remember playing the shit out of it when I had it on my Xbox.
Missed the strike zone. Ball.
Like, I didn't play that my Xbox 360 that much. I used it mostly as a
count 2-2
as a DVD player.
The count is even. There's the next pitch.
I will say, I put so much time.
That's it for an infield base hit.
Next at bat, because I know Power Pros. I trust the Power Pros developers. They did a very good job with making some of the teams.
He let that one go by.
Most of the teams, at least the ones from I remember, I remembered using.
That one clearly missed the strike zone. Ball.
The
count is 2-1.
It's just a shame that they never caught on with so many other people, because people were just going to choose graphics over fun but silly games like this. It's a shame that we'll never see games like
strike three.
This come out ever again.
Looking. Next
up, but you know what? Maybe that's just the way I have to adapt. And that pretty much just seals it
count
there.
1-1.
This was
the pitcher makes a pickoff attempt to first.
An LP I've been afraid to do for a while, because I didn't want to do this and then end it and then
behind in the count.
Wait a few years later. I wanted to do them both in one shot to show you the differences,
our next batter,
not have to talk about things over and over again.
First time up.
And while this is going to be a very big LP in those regards, that means that we're going to be able to pound out some of my favorite baseball games to play in one shot.
That's a strike.
And it's not over the top. It's not like overly ridiculous. It's not like the show games that take up so much space on the hardware now, the software,
no runs,
whatever.
One hit, no errors, one man left on base.
I like having games like this to fall back on. And whenever I'm bored or I have a lot of free time, I can jump into a Power Pros game and just play like pick up from where I left off and not miss a beat. In other games, you can sit there and go, "Oh my God, what was I doing here? I don't remember."
Count 1-1.
No. am I doing here? Why is this guy there? No. I can just go into any one of these games and just have an absolute ball. I wish I could do that with other baseball games, but unfortunately that's not the case.
Here comes the next pitch.
And just because I am doing these as LPs, that doesn't mean I'm never going to pick these games up again, because these games are fun. I love playing these games, and you're going to hear even more praise about MLB Power Pros 2008 when we get into that. Down we are obviously not done with this, as we have a whole other game to get through.
It's a strike. Count 0-1.
I have not decided yet if I'm going to do season mode and MLB Life.
He's behind in the count.
But I am definitely doing success mode. That is the big one. They have a very good story mode in that game too, which isn't a sequel. Like you would imagine that since you signed your contract at the end of success mode in this game, if you succeed, you'd think, oh, well, then you just pick up your character from where you left off, bring it up in 08, and then presto, you can have a fantastic player in that game. That's not how it works.
Strike. Count 1 and 2.
It's a sequel in only so far as a few of the characters from the first one return.
The count is even.
See
here comes the next pitch.
The scout that drafts you at the end of the game is the same as Becky's dad.
No runs.
A couple of other players, like the salesman, Bison,
Hawaii,
who sells all the stuff at the campuses. He returns. There's a couple of other minor side characters.
He made it out first time up with an
and then another one of the big characters
from
this game, from the first game, who returns. But in general, it is just
foul ball.
It is not a sequel in name, but it's more or less a updated version of what Success Mode was in 2008. And what Success Mode was in the first game, now brought up to a different level. There's a whole lot of other game stuff that I can talk about in that game, but I will do that at another time, because honestly, 2008 has so much stuff offered for it that
next up,
I'm not too worried about.
He made it out first time up with an infield grounder. Strike.
There's literally, like, I could go on for hours talking about it.
Hit to center field. He throws to the cutoff man. Runner on first is going for third. Cabrera gets a base hit to center field.
Yeah, we've got like
our next batter,
we've got a whole second half of this LP time up to focus on, and I'm gonna have so much fun doing that. I think that means we're probably gonna end up working into like July or August for this, which means I'm gonna have to shuffle some LPs around.
There's a line drive towards the alley in left center.
Hey, I'm nothing if not adaptable. And it looks like the kids are taking an early lead.
Goes for third. Gonzalez hits
See if the future is now or if veteran.
Next up, David Wright. Hawaii could stretch their lead here. Foul ball.
Yeah, I was planning on doing a World Series for both of them initially. So you had like the World Series for.
Goes back. The runners go back to their bases. Runner on third, tags and comes
You initially have the World Series for this game and then the World Series for the next game. But unfortunately, Mark does not have a copy of this game. He only has 2008. So we're only going to be able to do it for 08, and I figure since 08 is the game that you'll see it when we tackle it the next time we have an episode, that I've definitely sunk way too much time
and here's the man of the hour, Grady Sizemore. Hawaii could stretch their lead here. He let that one go by.
But yeah, I was trying to do a World Series, but I decided, okay, so I'll do the young versus old.
Count 2-1.
And I thought that was a great idea, but then I sat there, I'm like, you know what, this LP is going to be going on for long enough as it is, so instead, why don't I just do...
Count 3 and 2.
Instead, why don't I just do this? Why don't I do...
Ground it to the
one
left
all-star game and then say, okay, so when this game ends, we officially jump into 2008.
Has had a base hit already in this game. Hawaii could stretch their lead here.
And that's exactly what we're going to do.
The first pitch.
Because,
He let that one go by. It's a ball. Count 1-1.
I mean, outside of like a few minor aesthetic tweaks and
drops in for a base hit.
Hawaii extend
their lead to 3.
The
throws to the cutoff
08 is pretty much a carbon copy of 07.
The
models are pretty much the same with a few changes. A couple of the stadiums change. There's a couple of new players. A couple of old players got left out, which, as I've mentioned several times in this LP, I've fixed for the most part. But you'll definitely see how many custom players I've made. It's disgusting how many custom players
Next
I've
batter,
made in this
Robinson Cano. Hawaii could stretch their lead.
But you'll see in 2008 when we get to this how little of a social life I had back in the day. Hell, still now to this day that
he's behind in the count.
But it can also be determined how passionately I love MLB Power Pros. I will gladly pick up a game like this multiple times over just getting the next latest baseball game because it has updated rosters.
Swing and miss again.
Like, trust me, I don't need the top-notch rosters on these games just to have
4
fun.
runs, 4 hits, no errors.
If you need the updated rosters to have fun,
the bottom of the 4th
inning.
Hawaii
That's good
4,
on you.
Las Vegas
But
0.
for me, I don't need that.
The number 2, 3, and 4 batters are due up this inning. Here we go with the first pitch. That's a strike. Count 0-1.
It is weird, though, I will say, the vets versus kids thing, because all of the veteran players are in their 50s and
Biggio
is retired. Franco at this point is in his 60s,
next at bat,
or at least approaching his 60s.
He went down swinging on his first at bat.
I think he's also approaching the 70s
the first
at this
pitch.
point.
There's the first pitch, and it's hit.
It's 2007 when he was 47 years old.
Big cut. He's behind
a long
in the
time
count.
ago. Oh, 2006 when he was 47 years old. It was a long time ago. But like all of these other young players, like how many of these guys either fizzled out of baseball, kept getting injured,
set to deliver the first pitch,
or in some cases are actually on the way to the Hall of Fame, or are currently in the Hall of Fame.
Strike.
I mean, you look at this 25-man roster, or the 25 and under roster. King Felix is a guy I mentioned before in the LP. He had a up and down. He had a very good career, and then he just ran out of gas.
Our next batter,
Joe Mauer's in the Hall of Fame despite injuries. David Wright dealt with a ton of injuries. Jose Reyes, he had injuries. He had
the catcher fires to second
field
base.
issues. He had a lot of things going wrong with him. Robinson Cano, the PED abuser. He is Adrian Gonzalez, the first baseman, had a really good career.
Swings and misses. He's gone. Piazza.
Miguel Cabrera is a Hall of Fame on the way to the Hall of Fame.
One man left on base.
He just retired a couple years ago.
Las Vegas 0, Hawaii 4.
No plaque in Cooperstown just yet, but it is coming.
From the top of their batting lineup.
Carl Crawford got injured a lot after leaving Tampa Bay.
He takes a big cut.
Grady Sizemore, poor guy, could not stay on the field, and then Jeff Francoeur pretty much peaked in 2006, 2007. And after that, became more
Crawford
like a bench
retired
player
on an infield
for other teams.
Next up, Jose Reyes.
Which again is
the first
part and
pitch.
parcel of baseball.
Drag bunt
You got some other guys that I haven't mentioned yet, like Scott Kazmir had a lot of pitching issues.
Reyes is retired on an infield grounder.
Justin Verlander's on the Hall of Fame trajectory. He's probably playing his last year this year, so he's the last player in this particular game that is still active in the majors, which is interesting. I think 2008 is the same case, but I will have to look at some of the guys
out of zone
that are there. But I think once Justin Verlander retires, every player in MLB Power Pros will have retired. You know, except for like the custom-made characters, if you made them.
That's a strike.
But that is something interesting.
There's the next pitch.
The hardest part I had for the kids roster was actually the bullpen.
No runs.
Because they do have a lot of young relievers for the bullpen, but so many of them were like terrible.
Las Vegas,
Joe Smith, for example, with the Mets, is a very good reliever, but they didn't have him with good stats in this game because he was a rookie. And because he was a rookie, they're like, oh, well, his stats are terrible.
Swing and a miss.
They don't know what he throws or what his pitch repertoire was like. So I had to pretty much like wing a lot of these pitchers until I could scrounge together a few, which is why I had to use a couple of starters. He retires the leadoff batter with a strikeout. Next up, Sammy Sosa. He lined out to the shortstop his first time up. And the issue I had with the veterans team was there are so many veterans that you could use in some positions, and then some other positions you just absolutely
Reggie Sanders. He popped
and you're like just scrapping them, scraping the bottom of the barrel.
The inside corner ball.
Like Left field, for example, has a lot of guys in their
Throwing to first.
upper 30s or mid to upper
That's
30s.
The final out.
Mid to upper
no
30s,
runs,
some even in
no
their
hits,
40s.
no errors.
So you have guys
Las
like
Vegas, 0, Hawaii 4.
You have guys like Barry Bonds, for example.
Las Vegas
but
putting
then
in a
there's
new
also
pitcher. Hernandez is the second pitcher for the team to take him out in this game.
Jeff Conine. You have just so many random guys who are just in there over the age of 35 that you could throw in these situations.
Here we go for the first pitch.
And then you have like third base, where third base in this game is predominantly guys in their
There's a pop-up landing in the stands in foul territory.
20s. So I'm like sitting there going like, I can't do anything.
The bat makes contact with the ball.
I'm like, my go-to in this game was Scott Rowland. So I'm like, oh, perfect. I'll just put Scott Rowland in on the roster.
He
and I
retires
found out
the
Scott
leadoff batter
Rowland,
with a
despite
strikeout.
having a ton of injuries,
David Wright has had 1 RBI
and
so far
technically
in this
being on the
game.
decline,
Here we go, the
was
first pitch.
only in his early 30s. I'm like, I
That's
can't
a
put him
strike.
on the roster. A-Rod wasn't 35 yet. Mike Lowell wasn't 35 yet. There were so many guys that were on their way out of baseball, even at this point, that I couldn't use because they weren't
It's
over
a
30 yet.
Is in a big hole.
So I was afraid that maybe I'll have to put a third baseman that's like a
Swings and
player.
misses. He's gone. 2
Like maybe I
consecutive
could put
strikeouts.
Jose Valentin there.
Grady Sizemore.
But
Here
then
we
I'd
go
have
for
to
the
change
first
his
pitch.
stats and make him a third baseman. And
Just
I'm like, I
gets
can't
the inside
really do
corner
that.
for
How's
a
that
strike.
fair?
He put that first
So I
pitch
found out
right in
that
there.
Chipper Jones turned 35 in 2007,
Low,
and I'm like,
ball.
you know what?
Count
I'll take
1-1.
it. He barely qualifies, but he was the best option.
Foul.
It was a very weird thing that I found there. Catcher was also surprisingly stacked.
That one clearly missed the strike zone.
You had the old backup guys like Kelly Stinnett, Sal Fasano, Henry Blanco,
3 consecutive
Mike
strikeouts.
Redmond. But then you also had Mike Piazza. You had Pudge Rodriguez, Jorge
No
Posada,
runs. No
Jason
hits. No
Varitek,
errors.
a bunch of
We're to
catchers
the
for
bottom
that
of the 6th
position.
inning. Hawaii 4. Las
Shortstop.
Vegas 0.
I was expecting I'd have to use Jeter or something
Las
like that.
Vegas
but then I saw
are leading
that
off in this
Omar
inning with the
Vizquel.
last batter in their lineup. He made an out
Omar
first time
Vizquel's
up
a guy
with an
that I
infield
never even
grounder.
thought of.
Out
So
of
I'm like, oh,
zone,
okay,
ball.
that works. Second base had a lot of options I was thinking of. You had Jeff Kent, you had Ray Durham, Jose
The ball has hit
Valentin,
the
as I
outfield for a
mentioned
base
before.
hit. It's a base
I
hit
ended
to
up
the
going with
outfield.
Craig Biggio
Gets a
because,
base hit to center field. Next up, Kenny
Center
Lofton.
field, I could have used
Here we
Ken
go,
Griffey
the first
Jr.
pitch.
I could
It's a
have
strike.
used... There's a few other guys I was thinking of, but I ended up
Off
going with
the head of
Kenny
the bat.
Lofton because I think Kenny Lofton's the kind of guy that doesn't get a lot of attention. Even though he
Lofton
was
gets a
still
base hit to left
machine
field.
back in
Craig
the day.
Biggio has
Craig
had a base
Biggio,
hit
of course,
already
is
in
a
this
Hall of
game.
Famer.
Strike on a ball down around the knees.
First base had a couple options too.
He pulled that one well.
Like you had, I went with Frank
Crawford
Thomas, but
goes
you could
back.
have went
That
with
ball curved to the left side. Foul
Ryan
ball.
Klesko, Jason Giambi,
That ball is way
Julio
outside.
Franco. There were so many random options you could have used for the veterans.
Here's the 2-2 pitch.
Which I had too
That
much of
fastball's
as
got legs
opposed
on
to
it.
the kids where
Biggio
there wasn't
strikes
enough.
out.
Like if I tried this in 2008,
There's a timeout on the field.
I don't know if I'd
Las
be able
Vegas
to do it
are putting
because
in a
I
new
don't know if there
hitter.
are many players that from
Pitch
either
hitting,
side
Julio
that would
Franco.
be for the 35 and above or the 25 and unders.
Here we go for the first pitch. That's
Like
a
a lot of
strike.
the best players in MLB Power Pros 2008
Down low, just
are
missed.
guys
Ball.
from the ages of like 26 to 33 or something like that.
Dribbler off the bat. They're thrown to first. 2 away. And
It was
here's
a
the
weird
man of the
but
hour,
fun little
Gonzalez. He's
thing
set
for me
to
to go
deliver the
through.
first pitch.
I will definitely say that. Just setting up these rosters.
He swung on it. Count 1-1.
But don't worry, I will be able to do the rosters for the.
Off to the right of the pitcher.
We'll have a whole episode where Mark and
There's
I
the third
looking
out.
at the rosters for the World
No
Series.
runs, 2 hits, no errors, 2 men left
After
on
all,
base.
we are the ones.
Las
building.
Vegas 0, Hawaii 4.
And yes, this is obviously going to be one of the longer
And
episodes.
the game heads into the
because,
7th inning.
well, I have no power over what happens.
Here
in
we
this
go,
game.
the first pitch.
I'm not
That's a
doing
strike.
anything with it. I am just a simple person talking to you about a game he actually
strike.
kind of enjoys.
Count 0-2.
Well, not kind of enjoys, always deeply enjoys.
Foul ball.
Oddly enough, these games both represent 2 of the worst years you could be a Met fan, and yet I play the shit out of them. Maybe it helps me get over the lousiness in some of the Met games.
One away.
Some of the Mets
Robinson Cano drove in a run in his last at bat. Here we go, the first pitch. He swung on it. Count 0-1.
Okay,
It's a
very
strike.
tired now.
He's behind in the count.
11:30 now, so pretty much what I'm going to do for the rest of the night is
Going to first.
I'm going to send all the videos to my external hard drive.
Cano is retired on an infield grounder. Next up, Jeff
I ain't
Francoeur.
editing shit.
Here we go for the first pitch.
But more importantly, since I don't
That's a
have to
strike.
be up
Count 0-1.
tomorrow for anything really, I'm just probably gonna sleep in. And then
Out of
get
zone,
as
ball.
much editing
Count
as I
2-1.
can done, and primarily focusing on finishing off Pac-Man, which by this point
That's
for
a
you
strike.
guys, you've already seen the conclusion of. And
Cut
also
looking.
Pokémon, which
That's the
you've
end
also
of the
seen the
inning.
conclusion of. But at this point in March of 2025, I am not done with them yet.
No runs, no hits,
I have a
no
very
errors.
limited amount of
We enter
space
the
that
bottom of the 7th inning. Hawaii 4, Las Vegas 0.
a very limited amount of space, and I need to use all that space efficiently and optimally. I have to be a nerd in those regards. Some days that means I have to work more, some days it means I have to work less. But I don't get to choose. Actually, yes I do. I don't get to, like, be super picky, though. Yeah, I don't know why we
Las
haven't
Vegas
had
are down by
some
4
stretch
runs.
there.
Mike
We
Piazza
haven't done it
has
yet
struck
all
out
season,
twice in
so
this game. Here we go for the first
We're
pitch.
owed.
That's a
We're
strike.
owed the 7th inning stretch.
The
I
ball makes
don't think
contact
I'm
near
going
the
to
grid.
talk through the 08 section though,
Out.
when we do
One
the
away.
World Series.
Piazza grounds to third and is
I
retired.
would run out of a
Next
lot
at
of
bat,
topics to
Chipper
talk about,
Jones.
especially if
Here
it
we
goes
go,
to
the first pitch. That's a
full
strike.
distance of like 7 games. I'm hoping it doesn't. I mean, I don't want Mark to get swept
Foul
or me to
ball.
get
This
swept.
one goes
but
into the stands.
it would give me time to work on other projects this year.
That's a razor-sharp slider.
I mean,
Jones
judging
is struck out
from-
in 2 consecutive at-bats.
Judging from what we
Next up,
have,
Sammy Sosa.
I think we're at about 40-something
Here we go
episodes,
for the
which
first
means
pitch.
Power Pros is probably going to
It's
Power
a
Pros
strike.
2008 is
Count
probably going to
0-1.
double that. I mean, won't have to do as much setting up and explaining about other things.
Boy,
but
that one's going deep. He's under it.
yes, the success
end
mode
of
is
the
still
inning.
relatively
No
long.
runs,
We're still
no
going to have
hits,
to talk
no
about
errors.
other aspects of the
At
game.
the end of the 7th inning, Las
MLB
Vegas
Life
0,
is going to have
Hawaii
to
4.
involve its own section, and the season's going to have to involve its own
They
section.
are leading
so we're
off in
gonna
this
have to
inning
at least
from the top of
double
their batting lineup.
the length
Hawaii.
that this had.
Here we go, the
for
first
that.
pitch. That's a strike.
Actually, it kind of makes more sense now that I think about it to just do MLB Life mode, because season, they're both
Ground
technically
ball
going to be
to the left to
following
second.
the exploits of the
Out.
season, but at
One
least
away.
in MLB Life mode,
Crawford grounds to second and is retired.
We
Next
will
up, Jose
talk
Reyes.
more about
Here we
MLB
go,
Power
the
Pros
first
2008
pitch.
in
Just
the
gets
next
the
episode,
inside
because
corner for a
obviously we'll
strike.
be playing MLB Power Pros 2008. If I do season mode, however, it's definitely going to be entirely on my terms.
Swing and a miss.
Like,
Strike
I'm going to be
three.
the team I want to be. We're
Strikes
going
out.
to do whatever
Miguel
I
Cabrera
feel like
has had a base
doing.
hit already in this game. Here we go for the first
It's
pitch.
going to be one of those things, but I am going to do success mode because I love the success mode in 08. I am most likely going to do MLB Life.
Just missed the inside
over,
corner. Ball. Count 2-0.
The season mode if I had to choose between them, but if I am doing both, then I will do both. And then we'll do the Mark and I finale to this, where he will
That's a
only
strike.
appear in one episode, unless of course he wants to commentate. But if he wants to commentate, then he's going to be with me for a very long time, and he won't be seeing anything on screen, which is, I don't think it's fair.
Strike three. Cabrera strikes out. No runs, no hits, no errors.
It's something I
Hawaii
got to think
4,
about
Las
over the next
Vegas
few days
0.
because I'm taking a bit of a break after this. Personally,
Las Vegas are down by 4 runs.
you guys are just going to see the next
Here we go,
episode.
the first pitch. Strike.
So basically, when you see this video go up, just sit there and go, God, it'd be like Hades and Hercules. It'd be like, guys,
Pitches out in this situation.
relax. It's only halftime, and that's pretty much where it
He
is.
retires the leadoff batter with a strikeout. Omar Vizquel
I just realized
has
he
had a base
does
hit already in this
3
game.
different
Here
sports
we go for the
references
first
in that
pitch.
entire fight.
Just gets the inside
He
corner
does
for a
obviously
strike.
Let's Get Ready to Rumble when the Hydra comes out. Then he does the halftime thing. to reference pretty much any game that has a halftime, like football, basketball,
he's behind in the count.
Soccer, stuff like that, and then at the end it's game, set, match.
Missed the inside corner
tennis.
ball.
So it's like,
is looking at the pitches very well.
You could have like
Here's the 2-2 pitch.
James Woods may be an absolutely horrible human being, but he is phenomenal as Hades. He is absolutely.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. 2 consecutive strikeouts. Kenny Lofton's got a single in his last at bat. He's set to deliver the first pitch. It's a strike.
Is there any position player on these rosters, of these starting players on these rosters, that I have not talked about yet?
He let that one go by. It's a ball. Count 1-1.
I mean, I haven't talked about.
That's a strike. And he battled back.
Austin, Bonds, Reggie Sanders.
That one clearly missed the strike zone.
There really isn't much to say about Reggie Sanders.
Here comes the next pitch.
He was the oldest right fielder I could find other than Sammy Sosa.
Here's the 3-2 pitch.
He was a
out of the
fossil
zone, ball
at this
4.
point. He'd been a guy who was like a big stolen base
had a base hit already in this game.
He kept getting hurt.
Here we go.
By this point, in 2007, he was like a complete shell of his former self. He's one of the guys that you definitely knew was going to retire after 07, but he had a lot of money.
The pitcher makes a pickoff attempt to first
from Kansas City to work with, so
the pitcher makes a pickoff attempt to first.
Case in point. He came back.
Dribbler off the bat. They're throwing to first. That's the end of the
Sosa, I'm pretty sure I've talked about.
No runs, no
Frank
hits,
Thomas,
no errors. One man left on base. At the end of the 8th inning, Las Vegas 0, Hawaii 4. And now we are here in the 9th inning. Adrian Gonzalez has had a double already in this game.
What the hell's up with? Oh, I have the spirit mode on. That's why. Okay. I forgot. In some exhibition games, if you have spirit mode on in the game, a player's stats can actually increase and improve during the game.
One away.
So as you saw there with El Duque's little motivation guy bouncing around,
here we go.
The better he does, the better his stats get, and the better they get, that means his breaking ball will make better movements. His fastball will get more velocity. And all of his stats will now be at peak.
Grounds to second and is retired.
But the opposite is also true. So if a guy starts to get hit hard, or stop not getting hits, or commits errors or stuff like that, then it starts to go down.
He let that one go by.
It's a nice change of pace that I wish I don't think it's in 2008. I kind of wish it was, because that would have been cool.
Here's the 2-1 pitch.
I love that was a topic or like an idea for the game.
The count is 2-2.
Like,
here's the next pitch.
Backyard baseball did something
Swings
similar.
And misses. He's gone.
But the problem with backyard baseball is that it's consistent. Like, for example, if you wanted to have Bill make the New York Mets, but you wanted Brian Howard as first baseman, he's going to have very little motivation because he was playing for the Mets' main rival in Philadelphia.
There's a timeout on the field.
But
Hawaii
if you have
putting in a new pitcher, Rodriguez is the second pitcher for the team to take the mound in this game.
And you use him in that game and playing for the Mets, his motivation will be nothing but higher as long as you have him at third base. It's one of those very weird things. Like, I wish they didn't have that in some games, and I think it was. I remember some of the games had it, and some of the games didn't. Like, I remember 2001, MLB Backyard Baseball 2001 had it, and nobody liked it. So 2005, I remember, definitely did not have it. But then 2007, they brought it back, and it was just one of those weird changes that sometimes they make, sometimes they don't. Which is why I'm actually not really too upset that the backyard baseball comeback was pretty much just left for Steam only. That's fine. I don't care.
Just missed the inside corner ball.
I mean, I could play the game, but like I don't really care.
Out of zone ball.
Like, I'm not here to.
The count is 2-1.
If backyard baseball came out on the Switch,
he settles under it.
Switch 2, I would play the crap out of it. But that's probably because there's no Power Pros games coming out. Power Pros games
struck out twice in this game. Timeout. Las Vegas are putting in a new hitter.
We'll cross that bridge when we get to that.
Pinch hitting, Jorge Posada.
A big 2-run shot here with 2 wonders. But I wonder why they went from Piazza to Posada.
Just missed the inside corner ball. Count 1-1.
The fact that Posada's a lefty, but
it's a strike.
Impressive.
And he battled back.
If they'd had Piazza do it, because Piazza's got better power stats.
He whipped that one.
Game.
We are now down to the final out for this game.
All right, Chipper Jones
has struck out twice in this
for the veterans.
It's a strike. Catcher throws to second. Out.
And he's out. I guess Dewey from Malcolm in the Middle was right when he said the future is now, old man. Because the rookies they didn't cream them, but the veterans really did not put up much of a fight. Very good game, though. That's what matters.
As you've just seen, today's game was won by Hawaii.
This, we are done with the MLB Power Pros 2007 portion of the LP. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm your friendly neighborhood N-Man64, and I will see you in the second half of this LP at, I almost said Backyard Baseball. And then I would have said Mario, good lord. At MLB Power Pros 2008. Until we meet again, my lovelies, saya freaking nar.